moments after the verdict, crowds gathered here in Minneapolis, crowds gathered in cities around the country for peaceful demonstrations. Many of the same people who protested after Floyd's death took a moment to celebrate, took a moment to reflect, took a moment to resolve to continue their fight for change. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, he called the guilty verdict that was rendered on Tuesday part of a, quote, much longer journey. And Mayor Frey joins me now here in Minneapolis. Good to see you again, Mayor. Thanks for your time.
Good to see you as well.
That journey that you mentioned, what does that journey look like?
That journey doesn't just begin today. It's been happening for quite some time, but the truth is we have a whole lot of work to go. Of course, there's a sense of relief right now in our city, but there's also a sense of purpose. There's a sense of purpose to push back on these 400 years worth of injustice that we've seen, to create new accountability, to create economic systems that are inclusive. And right now, I feel strongly that our whole city is united around that purpose.
You tweeted yesterday that George Floyd came to Minneapolis from Houston to better his life, and perhaps in death, he's going to better our city. What did you mean by that?
George Floyd was murdered by our police, and following that really tragic killing, people have been galvanized. They've been galvanized to make true change that has eluded policymakers, mayors, even police chiefs for far too long. And I'm hopeful that we can have both that sense of purpose, but also have a sense of urgency, because the time is right now. We can be an example, hopefully, for other cities throughout the country to follow in the work that we do.
One of the conversations that George Floyd's death started was this idea about the relationship between the police and the policed. What should that relationship look like now? Not just here in Minneapolis, but around the country.
People should feel safe in their communities. They should feel safe in their interactions they have with police officers. And let's be real, right now, especially if you're black, people don't feel that way. And so in Minneapolis, but also nationwide, I think it calls for the need to see a culture shift in the way our police department operates. It calls for new systems of safety where not every single call necessarily needs response from an officer with a gun. It calls for new accountability systems to be in place so that officers that do wrong are disciplined and then terminated. Right now, you got the George Floyd Act that's moving through the federal legislature. We have acts that are moving both at the state level and local level. And the truth is we all need to be acting together. The time is now. Let's get this done.
Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey. Mayor Frey, thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks so much for your time this morning here in Minneapolis. And guys, I'll send it back to you there in the studio.
Hey, Craig, before you go, really quickly, it seems to me the Floyd family, is this part of are they going to be part of a movement going forward as far as police reform?
Oh, not just part of it, Al. They very much want to be leaders of that movement. It's funny because you talk to not just Phalonis, but Rodney Floyd, George Floyd's other brother, and the other family members. None of them signed up for this. A year ago, none of them planned to become faces and voices of some sort of a social movement, but they have very much accepted, and they actually see it. I don't think I'm speaking out of turn here. They see it as a spiritual calling. They feel deeply that God has called them to be leaders with regards to that. So the George Floyd Act that the mayor just mentioned, Phalonis Floyd testified before Congress last year about that. He plans to do more of that. That's going to become his immediate cause. But tomorrow they'll be attending a funeral here of the young man that was killed over the weekend, just 15 miles north of Minneapolis.
All right. Well, Craig, thanks so much. Great coverage. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Find your favorite recipes, celebrity interviews, uplifting stories, shop our favorite deals, and so much more with the Today app. Download it now.